watch what's approaching. The supreme moment, reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So another Monday Blues, start of a long week again, but it's okay because we'll start off with an interesting video where I was actually wondering about this for a long time. Running a full Gogeta team on an event or whatever in general just to see how the units overall would do. Now, unfortunately for this to work, you do have to include the Veku unit, which you get from the Gogeta Dokkan event like stage 1. So of course that unit is going to be a very big liability. The saving grace with that guy is the fact that you do have a high chance to decrease damage received by 50%, I think it was. We'll cover all the details here in a second, but that is one of the limitations with running a full Gogeta team currently in the game right now. Now, if there was a lot more options available, then it's a whole different story, but in this certain setting, you do have to include that SR initially, Dokkan awakens or awakens into SSR units. So let's go ahead and cover all the units included on here and just talk about it in a little bit of a generalized scenario. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Super Saiyan Angel Goku and Super Saiyan Angel Vegeta, which of course transforms into the Super Gogeta unit. And of course, in terms of the super attack prior to the transformation, it is an LR, so you do have the 12 key and 18 key. So 12 key is colossal damage to enemy, raises attack for 1 turn. Or actually colossal damage for the 12 key, and then the 18 key raises attack for 1 turn and causes mega colossal damage to the enemy. Now the passive skill is attack and defense, increase of 120% at the start of the turn, key +2. In addition, per rainbow key sphere obtained, and then obviously will fuse when HP is 50% or below, starting from the 6th turn from the start of battle. So of course, in a normal setting, you're not really going to see the transformation as often, but of course in events like this, where the battles are actually quite long, it actually works out pretty well. And then of course the Super Gogeta transformation unit will cause colossal damage to enemy with the 12 key, and then with the 18 key super attack causes mega colossal damage to enemy and lowers attack and defense. The good thing about this one is the fact that you do get a fully recover HP one time only. That does help out a lot, especially in Super Battle Road and stuff like that. Attacks are effective against all types. Attack and defense increase 150%, and then key +3 for every rainbow key sphere obtained. So, very solid unit overall still to this day, and I'm sure a lot of people do love this unit. And moving on to the Super Saiyan Gogeta unit from the Dragon Ball Super movie. Of course, this is the movie Heroes and Fusion category lead. Super attack greatly raises attack for 1 turn and causes immense damage to enemy. Passive skill is attack and defense, increase 100%. Attacks effective against all types, medium chance of evading enemies' attack, including supers, and then transforms when conditions are met. Transformation starting from the 5th turn from the start of battle. This one, in terms of the transformation, it's not too bad. You can actually see this happen pretty often if, depending on how the rotations are. But once the transformation takes place, greatly raises attack for 3 turns and causes immense damage to enemy. And then for the passive skill, it's an attack and defense increase of 130%, guaranteed critical hits when attacking, and then high chance of evading enemies' attack. That also includes supers. So this guy is very good, especially with the no dupe scenario. Like, honestly, in my opinion, this guy is probably one of the best without requiring any dupes, for the potential levels, because you're effectively attacking against all types, medium chance to dodge enemies, and once you transform, you're looking at guaranteed criticals on top of high chance of evading enemy attacks. So, very nice setup overall, and obviously dupes help, but you can get by without it, basically, is the point. Okay, so the next one is going to be the Extreme Z Awakened Strength Super Gogeta unit. Causes immense damage to enemy, lowers attack and defense as part of the super attack, and then the passive skill is attack and defense increase of 77%, and then attack increase of 7% per rainbow key obtained. Of course, attacks are also effective against all types. And just to give you an idea how much of a difference this unit got with the EZA, I mean, you're looking at the prior passive skill of attack increase of 7,000. That's a flat number, and you didn't even have the ability to lower attack and defense as part of the super attack. On top of the nuking passive with the 7%. So overall, this guy is still a very good unit too. And then Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is also another one. This guy's still very solid. I actually tested him recently on the Kamehameha category team, and he did quite well. This guy has the super attack to greatly raise attack and defense for one turn and causes immense damage to enemy. Passive skill is attack increase of 120%. Extreme type enemies get an attack and defense decrease of 20%, and then high chance of evading enemies super attack and countering with tremendous power. And this guy will counter a lot against supers. I mean, when it doesn't, it definitely hurts, but the odds are this guy will counter super attacks quite a bit. Okay, and then moving on to the EZA base form Gogeta unit. This guy is also pretty good. Super attack raises attack and causes supreme damage to enemy. Now the passive skill, we'll cover that here in a second, but it is a little bit restricted and it kind of hurts this unit on this type of setting. Attack increase of 77%. Attack and defense increase of 77%, I meant. Plus an additional attack and defense increase of 20% when there's a Goku's family category ally on the team, plus an additional attack and defense increase of 20% when there's a Vegeta's family category ally on the team, and then attacks effective against all types when there's a movie boss category enemy. So a little bit restricted in terms of the scenario you have to run or team you have to run in order to fully maximize this unit. Again, this is a full Gogeta team, so you're not going to have any units on either the Goku's family or Vegeta's family category, so you're not going to get the boost there. Of course, you're also not going to get the attack effective against all types because you won't be facing any movie boss category enemies on this setting. So just keep that in mind. This unit is a little bit held back in this setting. And save the best for last. So we have the Veku unit. Again, this is at best an SSR unit. The saving grace for this guy is high chance of reduced damage received by 50%. So outside of that, it really doesn't benefit you to bring this unit on. The only reason this guy's included right now is because you do need him on there to fully fit the Gogeta team like requirement, I guess. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much the only reason this guy's included, and no more, no less. So that's pretty much the extent of that. So with all that being said, you know, they do share a lot of links with each other. So for the most part, you really don't have to worry too much about making sure these guys get their supers. Even the Veku unit, typically on most rotations, I think once they get 4 more in key by collecting the key spheres, you're able to get a super attack. Not that it really matters because the damage output is quite ridiculously low, so it doesn't really have that much importance. But outside of that, obviously you see the Gogeta Blue already transformed here and Super Saiyan or Super Gogeta EZA version. These guys they do quite well linked up together. In terms of like rotations, I mean it's ultimately up to you, but I don't think it's like absolutely necessary to lock in certain units with certain others in a rotation. I think more or less it's just do what you want to do at this point, because they do share enough links to where it's not really a problem, especially in a setting like this, in a battle like this. You definitely want to place them in the appropriate spots, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to force a rotation either. So of course Gogeta Blue, you definitely want to put him in the middle slot where the most attacks are coming. The LR Gogeta unit, he can obviously tank, but might as well put him in the first slot to avoid taking any damage. Plus you kind of want that unit to be available, most rotations, and yeah, I mean it's a good unit regardless. So definitely want to keep it going with that. That Gogeta Blue is definitely really nice with the transform state, high chance of evade enemy attacks, guaranteeing criticals. I mean, it's an all-out, overall balanced package, in itself. And I said that since the unit came out. I think it's a very, very well balanced unit, and I run them quite a bit on the appropriate categories, even on the Kamehameha category with the LR Gohan unit. You could actually include that Gogeta Blue, because Gohan's secondary leader skill is 120% to super agility type, so you can certainly include him on there. Let's see, Super Gogeta and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta are in the rotation here. 2.3 million attack stats so far with this unit. And, hits for about 1.2 million, so not bad. And damage is okay. It's not, great, but it's not terrible either. I think the unit that will probably take the most damage out of this group, overall in most settings, it's probably the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta unit. For some reason, this guy really can't tank as much compared to some of the other units. So this is one of those scenarios where you have to put Veku in the middle because, it's pretty obvious. If you have him in the third slot, you're looking at a lot of damage being received, even with that 50% damage reduction active. You're looking at probably a lot of damage taken from that. So, of course, it sucks to break the link between Gogeta Blue and LR Gogeta, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, look at that, 122 in damage output. That is such a fantastic number, right? I don't know why people don't run this guy on more categories, on more teams. Like, they totally should. Hopefully no supers. Yeah, so luckily no super attacks came from Gohan that time. I think it would have been pretty bad news at that point if it did happen, but luckily nothing happened. Only one attack going toward base form Gogeta, and then everything else is going toward Gogeta Blue, so that's a very nice setup right there. Imagine if this unit had the ability to stack attack and defense. That would have been ridiculous. It probably would have broke the game, honestly, with that amount of skill sets. It would have definitely been some bad news. But you're able to do that with this Gogeta unit. Again, keep in mind that the passive is not fully active because you do require Goku's family categories allies and also Vegeta's family category allies on top of facing the movie boss category enemies as well. So you have like 3 different variables in order to fully fulfill the passive skill for the base form Gogeta unit. But you're seeing the output without those passives initiated. So with that in mind, I guess that unit's doing pretty well given the circumstances. Okay, so this is the last battle against the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan unit. It's kind of funny how the type changed from strength type to the intelligence type. I was wondering about that, if it's going to be, if they had planned on setting this as, an intelligence type, why didn't they just use the OG LR Gohan? Kind of a funny, interesting question I asked myself, but it's whatever, I guess. It doesn't really matter, but. So let's see, 221,000 HP left, so that's a little bit less, or right around 50%. Depending on if Gohan attacks with the super against the strength type Gogeta, that could mean some bad news. I mean, Gogeta Blue at least has a high chance to dodge enemy attacks, so it's kind of like, it is still a gamble, but the percentage is high enough to where you're willing to take that chance, I guess. But yeah, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta will definitely take a lot of damage here, so with that in mind, let's just go ahead and recover HP. Plus, Gohan might end up supering this rotation. I almost feel like that's going to happen. We do have a lot of attacks coming from the second slot where base form Gogeta is. Let's see how much damage is received here. So 156,000. So that was, with 50% damage reduction. So it could have definitely been some bad news had that item not been used. So it was definitely a good idea. The only thing about this unit that sucks is the inability to raise defense on top of the attack. It just has the Kaioken mechanic to stack attack but not defense, so defense never improves, and that's kind of like the drawback with that. But it's certainly better than Gogeta right there, taking about 72,000 in damage. Alright, might as well use the Ghost Usher. You have them available, might as well use it. And let's see, should be enough for a Dokkan mode attack here. There we go. 569,000 attack stats, and that'll obviously increase quite a bit after the the super attack animation comes about. Goes up to about 3.67 million, and it is type advantage, so depending on whether the critical hits or not, you're looking at a pretty good amount of damage here. There's definitely an interesting one to test out for sure, though, especially considering that Veku is included on this team. I think it's one of those unique situations where you have a card included that really you haven't really thought about in a long time. But yeah, that's pretty much the setup with this full Gogeta team on the Infinite Dragon Ball History event. Hopefully enjoyed the content, and appreciate you guys watching until the very end if you did. And as always, I'll check you guys out next time, and definitely stay tuned. All right, peace out.